morning. I'm Peter O, and I'm from Goodman Oaks Church of Christ. Around this time is VBS, and we all love the skits, acting out famous Bible stories that are funny, thrilling, creative, and even sad. One of the most famous stories is about the prophet Jonah. I bet every person in this room knows who Jonah is and what happened with him. But if any of you truly read the book of Jonah, we're all like Jonah, angry, hateful, scared, and on the run. Are any of you trying to outrun your problems, others, or even God? Well, I got some bad news for you. You can't outrun God. God will always find you, no matter the challenge. Everyone knows the story about how God said, "Go to Nineveh, that great city, for its evil has come up against me." And he flees. Do any of you realize how far he tried to run? In Jonah 1, verse 3, it reads, "But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for that port. After paying the fare, he went aboard and sailed for Tarshish to flee from the Lord." According to this, Jonah didn't run to the next town over, but he fled to Joppa, a port, and boarded a ship, falling asleep in it. That ship was headed for Tarshish, a land so far away the Israelis thought that it was the edge of the world. To give you perspective of how far he ran, instead of going to Nineveh, about 500 miles away, he went to Tarshish, or he tried to go to Tarshish, 2,500 miles away. But God had a different plan for him. God hurled a large wind onto the ocean, causing chaos on the water, almost shattering the boat Jonah was on. It was so bad, the crew started throwing all their cargo into the ocean. When the captain of the ship started to move the cargo, he found Jonah sleeping in the cargo hold. I'm going to paint you a little picture about Jonah here. Imagine this. God told you to go speak out against Iran, for its evil has come up against you. But instead of going to Iran and just getting it done with, you decide, no, I'm going to go to Alaska instead. For the single belief that God can be outran. No. Psalms 139 verse 7 states, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence?" In Psalms, it's talking about how God's presence cannot be left or fled from. God tracked down Jonah and caused all that mess just to send him back on course. God is always with us. Are you running from God? If we look deeper into Jonah, we'll notice the mariners, regular people who didn't believe in God. We see Jonah using the ship as an escape from God. But some of us don't see God still used Jonah to help the mariners come to God. Even while Jonah was fleeing, we can see the mariners calling out to their own gods. Starting in Jonah 1, verse 5, we can see the mariners fearing for their lives over a storm that isn't even their fault. Jonah comes out of the ship's cargo hold, and the crew casts lots. For those who don't know what lots are, it's basically a spiritual dice. It's used to help make decisions, and the outcome is chosen by God. The decision in this case was who caused the storm. Jonah, of course. After figuring out that Jonah started this all, he has to be thrown overboard by them, and it will fix all their problems. The mariners refused to do so. Because they didn't want the blood of a man of God on their hands. I wouldn't want to kill a man too. I mean, I think the guy was insane. just paint this little picture in your mind. This man walks up to you on a ship, and you're struggling against the worst storm of your life. And he says, hey, throw me off. It's going to be okay. I don't think I'd be able to do that. The mariners tried to make it back to land to save his life. Yet the storm got worse. In Jonah 1, verse 14, it says, they cried out to the Lord, please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man. For you, Lord, have done as you pleased. It says in that verse that the mariners were worried about Jonah. Well, it seems Jonah didn't even care for the mariners. If you look at the verse after, in 15, it states, then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. Now, going back to that picture about the crazy man, if you look into Jonah verse 15, it talks about how they just threw him over and it just became calm. I'd be scared. I'd be scared that the God that Jonah claimed was the most powerful being in the world. God went through Jonah to show the mariners the power of God. No matter what, God will get to you, even through an unexpected way. Going into Jonah 3 and 4, we see Nineveh, one of the worst cities in the Bible. Jonah starts his journey into Nineveh, making it a day in, then proclaiming, 40 more days and Jonah will be overthrown. Everyone in Nineveh was frightened and repented of all their evil ways. Which is really saying something. These people terrorized other towns, pulling them by a fishing line with a hook in their jaw. They destroy towns, wipe out populations, and they were one of the most hated people in the entire Bible. Jonah didn't like him either. He goes only a day into the city instead of the 3-day journey that God told him to. Think back to the picture I drew about Iran. Think about going into Iran. You wouldn't want to go there. One, because of the way people are there. And two, because you can get shot just for your beliefs. Now, I'd be scared. I'd definitely pick Alaska over Iran. Imagine walking through the city, your eyes all around you, scanning the area, scared for your life, just trying to stay alive. I might go paranoid on just the first day, if it was like that. But like Jonah, I would definitely want to see it fall. If anything that the world has taught us, it's division. We're all supposed to hate people different from us. But God has different plans. Staying on the picture, imagine instead of the promised destruction of Iran, they're all saved and repent and grow closer to God. I'd be full of anger knowing I was promised the destruction of my enemies, but Jonah was the same. Jonah was against God and angry because he saw his enemies prospering. But one thing we all have to realize is we're not better than anybody else. God will show mercy to everyone, not just Christians. You may not like it, but God will show grace and mercy to your enemies too. Now you realize it isn't just a happy Bible story about a so-called hero who got swallowed up by a fish. We need to open our eyes and realize that God is available for everyone. We need to know that God is willing to save everyone. So stop being selfish. Stop being scared of God's call. Stop being hateful to your enemies. Stop running from God, because He will get to you. No matter the obstacles, the Lord will reach you. But we must walk to God and listen for what He has to say. We need to be available for God's use, because God takes the lost believers, the non-believers, your enemies, and you. I'm here today because of God's call. I'm here to tell you it isn't too late to stop running. So stop boarding your boat to Tarshish and go to your Nineveh. Thank you.